And joining us now, Peter George, the president of McMaster University, at least until the end of the month.
Till the end of the month.
How does that sit?
It sits a bit uneasily. I must say I'm tired of working 7 days a week and taking home a full briefcase every night. On the other hand, I love my job and I love the student interaction. But I have a 5-year-old daughter, and she said to me a few months ago, "Baba, when I turn 5, you'll be retired and we can play more." So I'm committed to playing more after June 30th.
We should just, for the record, you're about to turn 69, and you have a 5-year-old.
I do. She's a joy.
Whom you adopted from China?
We did, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
For the record.
A real joy.
You didn't pull a Trudeau, is I guess what people are wondering about right now.
Well, it wasn't for lack of trying.
Okay.
So.
Okay. You joined the faculty at Mac in 1965.
That's right.
At the age of 23.
That's right.
And you spent 45 years there.
I have indeed.
Can you imagine that? Back in the mid-60s, could you have imagined one day you'd be president and spend practically your whole life there?
No, it never crossed my mind. In fact, it's counterculture to have ambitions to administrative office. Most of your colleagues will discourage you from thinking about joining the dark side and joining the administration. So, never crossed my mind.
What are, in all of that time that you have now been in academia, what are some of the most significant changes you've seen when it comes to running a university?
Well, it's become a lot more complex. It was possible to be a president in those days without having to spend all of your time working on the university business.
Does that mean raising money?
Well, it's part of it, but there's a lot of government relations, there's community relations, there's raising money, there's making sure people know you have a hand on the tiller around the internal operations of the university.
Because I'd like, if you can, to paint a picture. Being from Hamilton, I remember Mac, when you started, was kind of a Baptist, university, pretty small. Right. Certainly not a world leader in anything as it is today. So paint that picture then versus today.
Well, it had about 7,000 students in those days. Now we have 27,000 body count, 20,000 full-time undergraduate students. We've added a medical school, a brilliant stroke on the part of our then President Harry Thode. We did have world-class standing, certainly in nuclear science, nuclear chemistry, nuclear physics. Harry was an outstanding nuclear chemist. But you're right, it was mainly an undergraduate institution, just beginning to start graduate programs. Now we have full range of graduate programs, about 3,500 graduate students. We have world ranking in many disciplines, not the least of which is medicine, but engineering, economics, many of the science departments. It's an outstanding place.
And as bigger and better as you no doubt think the place is, I want to talk to you about the TD Economics report that just came out. Special report on post-secondary education found universities and colleges are under pressure to do more with less, leading to larger class sizes, decrease in the number of full-time faculty, less innovation in the classroom. The report really points the finger at the pressure for universities to be more efficient, and I guess the suggestion is that you've had to compromise on too much at the end of the day. What do you say?
I think the current funding system, where about 90% of operating budgets either comes from government grants or government-regulated tuition, I think that current funding model is not sustainable in the long term. There's no doubt that a lot more emphasis on accountability, a lot more emphasis on value for money, participation, accessibility, trump quality. If it wasn't for private fundraising, and we've been very successful at private fundraising with some very visionary donors, I think TD's story would be true. Of private funds, we've raised more than $1 billion in private funds over the past 15 years. Private funds are the margin of excellence in the university. I disagree with one thing, lack of innovation in the classroom and in pedagogy. We're spending a lot of time thinking of new ways to teach because faculty-student ratios have deteriorated. It's much more important to be able to use those faculty hours more effectively and more efficiently to provide students with more direct mentoring. And in fact, that's something that we're well known for, and we will continue to emphasize.
Okay, but you correct me if I'm wrong here. Private fundraising, and I know you've got, I mean, David Braley's given a lot of money, Ron Joyce has given money, Mike DeGroot's given money. I mean, you're in the millions with those three guys alone. But it's kind of for new football stadiums or new buildings or it's not really to suppress tuition, is it?
Oh, no, it's not to suppress tuition,
Right.
except indirectly, because by far the largest number of donations we get, the largest number of donors support student aid, either scholarships or bursaries. And so what we're able to do now is to offer good scholarships to many, many undergraduate and graduate students who are most deserving academically. Plus, we have significant resources in bursary funds to address students who have financial need.
But it sounds like what you're saying is students really should be paying more to go to university.
Well, I can say two things. I think, first of all, I have tried to, in my leadership at McMaster, to make the university more student-centered. I do believe, I'm an economist, I have strong views on the subject. I do think that the days of tight regulation of tuition should come to an end. Tuition rates in Ontario, although they're now, I think, the highest in the country, are still darn cheap in terms of the return on investment. My major concern is not that some students can't afford to pay more. It is that we make sure that we target the student assistance funds available to support those from low-income families. I was the first child in my university and my family to go to university. I think every child deserves that chance, and we have to target low-income families, often children from immigrant families who don't have a culture of post-secondary education. We have to impress upon the fact that if you have the ability, it's affordable, and the university will help make it affordable, along with provincial and federal student assistance.
It costs, for a first-year general arts student to go to McMaster University today, costs what for tuition?
I'd say tuition is about $5,000, tuition and fees.
And you'd like to see it go to?
Well,
in order to support all of that.
Well,
which you
I
just
think
described.
I would like to see it go into the high single digits. I would hope that we could
Does
get.
that mean like 8,000 or 9,000, something like
sure.
that?
I would. That would be my first step. Would be to advise our Board of Governors to take it up to 7,500 to 8,000.
But the province won't let you do that.
No, they won't let us do that. They would claw it back out of operating grants. But my view is that those funds would be used to address the quality issues, so which are paramount in my view.
Does that mean hiring better professors?
We have great professors. It means hiring more professors.
I'm not surprised you say that.
No, it means we have to hire more professors. Our student-faculty ratio is about 26 to 1. If you look at major public institutions in the United States, for example, Michigan, it's about 10 to 1. And if you go to privates, 4 or 5 to 1. We would be able to do a much better job of individual mentoring of our students, individual attention to our students, if we could increase the number of faculty members.
Do you think most university presidents in this province feel as you do?
I think so. There are some, I know we've had these discussions many times, there are some who think my position on deregulation is extreme, but there's none of them who think that we couldn't use a little more room on the tuition side to try to augment our resources to support quality.
Okay, this is a bit of a cheeky question here, so fair warning. You know, for the student who is going to have to move his or her tuition payment from $5,000 to maybe $8,000 or $9,000, which may be a strain for some people, to be told by university presidents, all of whom are making darn good cash, I don't know what you're making, but it's probably like, you want to tell me, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 a year. I mean, you're in that ballpark. Are the optics are that bad?
I don't think the optics are bad. Let's be perfectly frank. On the student side, my view is that any student who needs financial assistance because of family circumstances should get it. So an increase in tuition should not be a barrier to access. So let's be quite frank. We can address the access issue even if tuition rates go up. In terms of executive compensation in universities, very hard job, complex job, takes a lot of time, a lot of wear and tear on the family and on personal relationships.
I think that's all true, but you make twice as much as the Premier of Ontario.
It's very competitive. I think the Premier of Ontario is drastically underpaid. I think all politicians are underpaid, as a matter of fact, and I have views on that I could share on another occasion. Fact is, it's a very competitive market for highly qualified, competent executives at universities, as it is for faculty. And I don't want to be flippant, but you pay peanuts, you get monkeys. This is a very hard job, a very demanding job. Compensation is a lot less than it is in the private sector. It's been exposed by not just the sunshine legislation, but also by the application of FIPA to universities. But you want to pick a sector that maybe should have more scrutiny? Hospital executives are exempt from FIPA. If the media want to
freedom of information request?
That's right.
Yeah.
So if the media want to have
more than you guys.
Yeah, well, a lot more. And if the media want to have a target, why don't they stop talking about what we make and talk about the need to find out what others make?
Okay, that's not a bad idea. All right. Let's spend our remaining time here, because everybody after 45 years at a single institution wants to leave a legacy. What do you think yours is?
Well, I hope I will be seen as a good and faithful servant of the university. I love the place. I have felt at home there. I've tried to make it a special place for our students and our faculty and staff. I do think that I don't want my legacy to be seen only in new buildings. I've been accused of having an edifice complex. But the fact is that our faculty, staff, and students have needed more space, and we have built that space. We have built, most importantly, some non-academic, student-oriented space, which has raised the perception of McMaster as a great place, place of great campus life, a place students seek out. I do think that I hope my legacy will be seen mainly in terms of a more student-centered university. We used to talk about McMaster as Canada's most research-intensive university. We now talk about it as Canada's most student-centered research-intensive university. We've done a lot in the way of curriculum and facilities and personalized attention to students to try to make that a reality.
Dr. George, in our last half minute here, I want to talk about Frank Sinatra, because I'm told at your last lecture you sang the lines to one of his best songs, which is My Way. Yeah. Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. What few? I have two basic regrets. The first is I would like to have done more during my term for the humanities and social sciences. Those are extremely important disciplines. I think it's much harder to raise money in those areas than it is for medicine or engineering or business. We do have, as our highest priority now, a new arts building and the renovation of the 3 existing arts buildings with a lead gift of $10 million from our Chancellor. I would love to have brought that project in while I was still president. Second thing is, I would like to have provided for my own retirement. I always said that when I retired as president, I would like to step up as coach of the men's hockey team. But we didn't ever get the arena built that was a necessary precondition for bringing back varsity hockey. So the one big disappointment, I didn't fulfill my own legacy retirement employment as the hockey coach. Next time, Coach.
Next time.
Next time. Well, you're not wearing the Order of Canada and the Order of Ontario for nothing. Dr. George, 45 years at MAC. Great legacy. Thanks so much for joining us here at TVO.
Great.